There may be no football this weekend for West Ham. My word, it's coming a bit thick and fast, isn't it? This news, and it's not good. It's just it's the season that just seems to be unraveling, just continues to do so. It just goes from one bad thing to the next. This one we're talking about is Niclas Fullkrug. There's been an update on the situation with him. Before I go into it, though, just want to say if you're not a subscriber, then do click the subscribe button. It's free to do so. It really helps the channel, and also click that like button on our videos as well, because it does mean a lot to us. So, Niclas Fullkrug, as we know, came this summer from Borussia Dortmund. It was a real bizarre signing. Let's get it right. Really odd, because we as West Ham fans know that our main target was John Duran. We'd watched the club chase him for quite a prolonged period over the summer. And it felt like it was always going to happen because the player himself sort of publicly came out. He did the crossed irons and all that on social media. It really felt that Duran wanted the move. West Ham were going to get the move done. And it was just a case of just getting to that right figure with Aston Villa. And then there was a big shift. West Ham suddenly went, oh, no, we're going to turn our attention. We're leaving Duran one. We're going to go to Fullkrug. Now, personally, and I feel like many of us felt at the time, it was a ploy, really, just to get Villa to come back to the negotiating table and come up with a sensible number that we could agree with, etc., etc. I felt that that's what West Ham were trying to do, but it didn't happen, did it? West Ham sort of went, no, we're not going for Duran, now we're going for Fullkrug. You know, I've talked about it enough. I felt it was a bizarre shift going from a 20-year-old prolific striker in terms of firing from distance, powerful, fast, all that kind of stuff, then going for a rather like sort of a target man, as it were, from Germany, hadn't played in the Premier League, 31 years old and injury prone. It just didn't make any sense. Completely two different strikers. But we went for it. It feels like this. The signs were worrying, but you felt like, well, let's give the guy a go. You know, let's see how he gets on. Maybe he'll prove us wrong and prove to be an astute signing. Well, it's gone beyond that, isn't it? It's horrendous. It's just an absolute joke how bad this signing has turned out to be. It's one of the worst, actually. We've talked about our striker flops over the years, and it's becoming a bit of a joke at West Ham. I mean, we're talking about 50-odd strikers, something like that under the Sullivan regime. I mean, I don't even know. I know it's something like that have all failed. I think isn't it something like 50-odd strikers that have failed to score more than a couple of goals or something like that. I can't remember. Awful record at West Ham. We're getting strikers sorted out. And Fullkrug's one of the worst. It's been an absolute disaster. He's been injured for what we're now 3 months in, I think, to this injury. When he was away on international duty, it was the injury that, once again, very similar to what we're typically used to at West Ham, where it's just sort of shrouded in mystery. We don't really know what it is. Max Cornet vibes all over it, you know. Oh, it's this mystery illness. He's got an ankle injury. Right, okay. Well, no, it's his Achilles. And, oh, no, it's not going to be too bad, actually. He's going to be back in a couple of weeks. Oh, no, we're not quite sure. 3 months in, we ain't got a clue. Don't know what's wrong with him. But during that time, we're watching him on game shows in Germany, and he so much so that, I don't know if you noticed this, the team photo, they photoshopped the team. They did the team photo for the season. They photoshopped his head on another player, I'm guessing an academy player, whatever. I have no idea. I mean, it's just a colossal nightmare at West Ham, isn't it? It really is. It's just an almighty cock up. So let's give the update from ex-WHU employee. Then we've got an update as well from Sean Whetstone on the situation. This is really grim reading. It really is. So West Ham still remain in the dark. This is from ex-WHU employee. Remain in the dark regarding the future fitness and indeed commitment. Interesting word. Fitness and commitment of Niclas Fullkrug. The club are still unsure how long the player is expected to be out for, with some saying a few weeks and some saying it could require an operation. Would obviously keep him out for a foreseeable future, although this isn't confirmed. He was missing from the team photo, as I've just said, and he's been photoshopped in on it and said to be. And now he's been reported to be struggling to settle in England. When Tim Steiner was promoting the players to the club, he described him back to the club as a real grafter and an honest professional. And then they said, well, let's see what the next few weeks are going to bring. He's going to be sold in January. That's what the next few weeks are going to bring, as far as I can understand it. I think that's pointing to that way. For West Ham, we're going to try and get rid of him. It's just, we've spent 27 million quid on this bloke. It's just an absolute disaster. We're going to lose 15 million quid, I would say, probably around that kind of number. You're not going to get much more. I mean, 12 million maybe. Between 10 and 15 million you're going to get from him, but at best at the moment. Bearing in mind he's injured as well, so we're going to struggle to flog him anyway with the fact he's carrying injury. So is he going to be fit and available for January? I don't know. We don't know, do we? We don't know what the injury is. You know, we're midway through November now, so only got what 6 weeks until January sort of kicks in. So I can't. I've got no confidence that he's going to be available to be sold. But that's obviously what's happened. So he's not in England. He's not settled. So why did we sign him then? Why did Tim Steidten sign him? It's a terrible, terrible mark against Steidten's name. It's got to be said. He can't get around it. It's a massive, massive failure from this so-called, pearl diver, this expert, and this technical director that knows exactly what to do and all that. It's the guy he recommended. It's horrendous. It's so much so, I think it could cost him his job. I mean, if you think about it in everyday walk of life terms, if you went to work and convinced your boss to outlay 50 grand, let's say, on a piece of equipment, and then you bring it in, and then within a few months you're saying, actually, it's not working, we've got to flog it, and we can flog it for 10 grand, that's all we're going to get back for it. You do your job, wouldn't you? I mean, they'd just say, well, you've done what you're doing. It's just a disaster. That the whole thing. I'm fuming about it. I can't believe that we're in this position again with another striker. The only positive you can say about the situation, I mean, I'm clutching at straws here, is that West Ham are now going to be forced to go and get another striker in January. And that is the hope that hopefully we can get this one right. Obviously, Duran's gone. I mean, that's never going to happen. He's just signed a new deal, so that's long gone. That's not even worth talking about. So what West Ham are going to do? What are we going to do then? Because nothing leaps out at me. And we're hearing about this Brazilian guy now, is it? Igor Jesus, I think that we're looking at. I mean, I'm not convinced. I don't know. I'm not over the guy, but are you convinced on Tim Steidten now? He bought in Guilherme for 25 million. I mean, what's that about? We haven't seen him play. Really disappointing, really bad news, really, really frustrating, and just another layer, isn't it, to add to this disastrous season that we're experiencing when still in the early throes of it, really. 25% into a season, 30% into a season now, and already it's just been disaster after disaster. And we've got more bad news as well. I'm going to come to in a second in regard to player happiness at the football club. But this is really bad. I mean, this is bad stuff in terms of FULLKRUG. It just feels like we are about to experience a significant loss, and another striker to add to the list of many now that have failed at West Ham because of our ineptitude when it comes to signing players. We can't identify the right players. We just seem to really lack any real plan when it comes to getting the players for the door. I've said it a couple of times over this summer. Although, look, West Ham, everyone's banging on about West Ham winning the window and the amount of money we spent and the quality of players come through the door. I'm not denying that. Right? I'm not denying that we got good players for the door. We just don't seem to have the right players. That's the issue. It's not that they're bad players. They just don't. I mean, it feels like it's suiting. Talked about it with the right back situation, Wan-Bissaka. Now, I'm not got Wan-Bissaka, okay? I've been impressed with him overall as a West Ham player. I'm not saying he's the complete player, and I'm absolutely, but overall he's been a decent sign. I'm not going to knock him for that, but he's a completely different player to our original target, which was Kyle Walker-Peters. We wanted him. That was our main striker's target because we felt that he could get forward, and that was the system we were going to play. And now you've got Wan-Bissaka, who is not really suited for that. It's just been a mess throughout, and someone sort of commented to me, say, "Well, you're missing out certain players." I'm pleased with Stebo. I think that was a great signing. I thought the negotiation that Steidten did with that was brilliant. I'm not going to sit here and just slag starting off and say everything's done bad. Obviously, he was asked to go and get Kilman. He got that deal done, and let's be honest, Kilman's shown signs of being a player well worth the £40 million. So I'm not a bad player. And if that's going to be our partnership, I've got no problem with that. I'm talking about some other players throughout the team, though. You do have to question. Rodriguez is one, and that's the one I'm going to come to in a second. Doesn't seem really, let's be honest, really suited to Premier League pace and football. So again, you've got to question Steidten again. Well, why did you sign him then? In the Premier League, it's a fast-paced game. The game seems faster than it's ever been at the moment. It really feels like it's evolving into that. And teams, we're getting overrun in midfield constantly because we just don't have the pace there. These are the things that a technical director should be. This is like bread and butter stuff, this is what I thought that we were getting. I thought that we were going to be going down a route of going for a type of player rather than a player, going for a type of footballer. I need a midfielder that can do this, and this. That's got the pace. Has got this. That can do that, and then find the players that fit that mold, regardless of where the name on the back of the shirt. That's what's frustrated me, and it feels like. We've been so accustomed to West Ham over the years with the Sullivan regime of this scattergun approach that we just put out bids for 25 players for one position, and then whatever the best deal is we go for. That whole point of this appointment, as far as I was concerned, that we were moving way away from that, a far more cohesive and professional. We've got people that do the data. So ask, I've got to ask the question then. If you've got people there that are giving you the data, they're saying to you, right, we've identified the striker, John Duran. He's the one. Look how powerful he is. Look at his hold up play. Look at his shot power and how he can fire from distance. And he can fit our team really well. I think he could work well on the counter. Right, brilliant. Let's go for him. Also 20 years old. Got a big future ahead, huge sell-on value. If he does well, okay, tick, 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 tick. That's what we're going to go for. Right, we can't get that deal done. We'll go for a 31-year-old who's got an injury record. It just doesn't. I don't get that. That shows then they're not using the data model. It's just that's the scattergun approach, isn't it? I'm just going to get a striker, doesn't matter who. It's not good enough. It's really poor recruitment, and it's incredibly frustrating and makes your blood boil a little bit, actually, doesn't it? How inept our club is at times and poor we are at executing these plans that we put in place. We don't seem to be able to do it. We don't seem to be able to do it as a football club, especially when it comes to strikers. I don't get it. I will never understand it. So as you can see, I'm very frustrated about it. Not news I wanted to read, because basically this what we've got now. I'm not surprised by this news, by the way, but it's just confirmed it. What you want to be hearing is that, Fullkrug's on the way back. Oh, he's a couple of weeks away. He's a week or two away now. He's back on the grass and desperate to come back and prove himself. And, he wants to show he's good for West Ham. I want to hear the new noises like that. I've been really disappointed in the fact that we've seen the player on podcasts and stuff out in Germany when he's supposed to be injured and working towards a Premier League return for West Ham. So, we spent a lot of money on this guy, and we're certainly not seeing that commitment. That's what I'm saying from the outside. I'm not trying to suggest that he's a really bad person and he doesn't care and all that. From what Tim Steidson had said, whether you believe a word he says now, but he was saying, as I said on that video, he's a grafter and a professional, a complete professional. So I'd like to think that he's not. I'd like to think he's hurting over this. But the question has to go to Steidson. I'm sorry, as much as I want to sort of point the fingers at a few people, but it sits really with Steidson this, because he's the one that sanctioned this move. He's the one that, bigged this move up, didn't he? And the one that said it's the one that's going to be the right way for the club to go. And clearly not. It's been a complete and utter disaster. Anyway, on to Rodriguez as well. Basically, he regrets coming to West Ham. He regrets he wishes to stay at Betis. He doesn't want a beer. So that's another signing. So that's another one to add to the list. You've got Rodriguez isn't happy being at West Ham. I've impressed with him, really. He's all right. Slow. He's okay on the ball. Bang average, as far as I'm concerned. I don't sit here and think he's a brilliant player. Again, I've said I don't think he's mobile enough in the midfield, and we get overrun. If teams put it to us, he can't cope. And we've got Newcastle and Arsenal next, so he's going to get ripped to shreds. So that's the end of that. We've got German striker, barely kicks the ball for us, is going to be sold in January. I imagine Rodriguez could go in January as well, maybe, possibly, if not end of the season. This has been a complete disaster, and there's big problems at West Ham. It really is. It's getting to a stage now where it's almost like, what more can we take? This season it feels, doesn't it, like we're just going through one mess after the next. It's really, really bad. Very bad situation to be in. I'm so deflated with the football club at the moment, as you probably tell. Like we all are, aren't we? It's hard to muster up the enthusiasm at the moment, and to try and get that back and feel like, as I said to you on a video yesterday, I'm not looking forward to Newcastle at all. I'm genuinely just really not looking forward to it. It's getting to that point now. Like that's, that feeling when you used to be in relegation battles, where I actually used to dread games. I used to dread like weekends of football. I was like, oh God, like we've got this game this weekend. I just know we're going to lose. I know it's going to be. I'm going into it now, and that feeling is creeping in quite considerably this season now. Well, I just feel like, the manager's going to go. Lopetegui will go at some stage. He won't see the season out. I'm pretty certain of that. My gut feeling is he'll probably go. Possibly, it will either be after Newcastle or definitely after Arsenal, because I don't see us getting anything from those two games. I feel like the club once again has shown their total ineptitude by not replacing him during this January transfer window. Sorry for this international break. I think it's just been, literally presented with an ideal opportunity here. You've got Eden Terzic, who's rumoured to be the front runner for the job. I appreciate fans are saying, he's too defensive and we don't want that, we want attractive football. I don't really see it as that, because let's get it right. When it's executed well, West Ham are winning games. No one's complaining. The issue when it's when I say executed well, by the way, I mean if you cast your mind back to that season, I think it was 2020, 2021 when we finished 6th. We played a very kind of low block counter-attack style then, but it was great to watch because we were really good at it. It was actually like a joy to watch. We were just ripping teams apart. I know teams eventually sussed us out, but the tactics worked quite well then. I had no real issue with it then. So I don't really have a problem with a style of football as long as it works really well and it's executed well. It's a joy, a joy to watch. But so I'm not fussed about that side, but the fact is we need a change at West Ham. I mean, there's no two ways about it. Lopetegui's 100% taking us towards a relegation battle. So that will be something I'm sure the club will address. But as usual, it's late and it'll be scattergun panic trying to get someone in through the door to replace him, no doubt. Yeah, really, I'm sorry I can't try and make it more positive on the weekend. West Ham aren't even playing. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like pissed off with the club, It's so frustrating. But yeah, so really disappointed, really annoyed this morning to be doing this video because just not what you want to be reading, is it? It's just not. This is not what you want to be hearing about Fullkrug. It's a complete and utter mess. The whole situation. Yeah, very disappointing. Just to add to it, though, this is from Sean Whetstone as well. He basically, it's been now confirmed that the club have now denied reports that an operation is going to be needed for Niclas Fullkrug. I mean, so that means he probably will do not. You know what I mean? The way things are going. So here we go. So, however, the same source has admitted for the first time. Now, this has come from the top source of the club. So I'm going to assume it's Sullivan. I don't know, but I can't say it for certain, so he just says source. But that's what I'm guessing it is. It's confirmed. Now, if they're saying this, it means it's very bad, isn't it? If the top source is saying this, the same source has admitted for the first time the German striker has not settled in the UK as of yet, which will fuel rumours that he could return to Germany this January at a loss for the £27 million. Oh my word. West Ham's technical director Tim Steidten pushed for the Fullkrug in the summer, insisting he was a model professional and real grafter, but the 31-year-old has not been able to demonstrate that after picking up an Achilles injury while in international duty several months ago. And this is what the source said. He has not settled in the UK. Let's see what happens in the next few weeks. So he's leaving in January. I would say it's all but certain. I would be 99% sure now. That's where I'm at with him going in January. It's almost like you want to laugh. You know what I mean? It's like it's so ridiculous that we're in this situation. It's the incompetence. That's the word I was looking for. The incompetence of this football club at times is staggering, absolutely staggering. I am dumbfounded by how bad we are at things, and this is bad for Steidten. My word, it's bad for Steidten. He's got to be now. He's on the brink, surely. I mean, he won't be here next season. I'm pretty sure of that as well. I mean, the fact is, being linked with Arsenal. Do you really think Arsenal are watching this, thinking that's the guy for us? They've been running for the hills. We think no chance. He got no chance for a top job if this is how he operates. I mean, you've got, as I say, Rodriguez wants out, hates it, wish he'd never come. You've got the Fullkrug hates it, going back in January, a massive loss. This is just an absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. Well, Rodriguez is a free, so I appreciate we haven't spent a lot of money on him, but he don't want to be here. So why did we get him? Why are we vetting these players? It's really poor, really poor. Look, it's a Sunday. Let's just try and switch off and as best we can from West Ham because it feels like we need to, because before we know it, we're going to be back in the action thick and fast. And I've got to be honest, like I say earlier, I'm really not got much appetite for it at the moment with the way things are going. I just feel like it feels like we're heading into the inevitable when it comes to Lopetegui. I feel like he will be replaced at some point soon. I think that he will go, as I say, probably it'll be whether it'll be either the Newcastle or Arsenal game. That's my gut feeling. I think the club will pull the trigger because unless we put it for miracle, unless West Ham go to get 3 points, James Park, get a draw against Arsenal or something. But is it happening? What's honestly the chance of that happening? Not a lot, I don't think. But anyway, yeah, Niclas Fullkrug off in January. 58th time lucky maybe with a striker. You never know. How many ones?